Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, your humble game master, Lee Rimmer, mentioned in the Facebook RPG Brigade page. I think he was commenting on like one of his videos, one of my videos. Might have been something by Complex Games Apologist. Whole bunch of stuff going on. Oh look, I got a message. Anyhow, he mentioned the idea that he's younger and he hasn't experienced a lot of the older, like say D&D games. A lot of the OSR thing is kind of he hasn't experienced that yet. The original games or the retro clones, and he also really hadn't experienced very much of simulationism. And I think he was kind of equating the two of them because it's clear that he likes a much more narrative style, much more story-driven type game, which is cool. Like you like what you like. However, I'm not wearing this hat for nothing. Let me tell you, back in the day, there were some railroads, and the thing I like about, at least in my opinion, the old school games and the retro clones, you can play them in any style you want to. You can play them very narratively. You can play them very gamist. You can certainly power game in any of those games and optimize and all that good junk. Or you can be like me and kind of prefer to play them in a more simulationist method, meaning the idea that the world is consistent. There's real consequences. Your decisions mean something. That sort of thing. Not that your decisions don't mean anything in the other styles of game, but the idea is it's kind of like, well, here's a real world. You're going to go interact with that as real people, and the world's not going to change just because it might be cool, that sort of thing. So, just to clear that up, and I think partly the part of the fault of a lot of those games being railroady was because they put out modules, and that was some of our experience as to what adventures looked like, and the company made money doing that. I mean, they weren't stupid, even in the old TSR days. So you played things like Against the Giants and Vault of the Drow and Queen of the Demon Web Pits, and it was a railroad. You could have fun doing it, but it was a railroad. And as time went on, some of us grew up to railroad our players on their own adventures, and people dug that, and they wanted to have a story kind of given to them. What Complex Games Apologist seems to be calling reactive game style. And I want to get back to this. I want to see I really just want to see where his conversation goes with all this. But the idea is the Game Master presents the players with scenarios and encounters and stuff. This is a very common play style. Even if you look at like where Dungeons and Dragons has gone now and how a lot of people seem to play it, it's prepared. And you're going to have an encounter. I know a lot of players that want that. They want the next encounter. Tell me what happens. Tell me the cool thing that we're going to do tonight. Not always my thing, but I get it. Versus a more what did he call it? He called it proactive, where as the players, I think he stole my quote. I think I was responding to something Sean Driscoll said, but the idea that like I like to drive the bus. I like my players to drive the bus like they stole it. Knock the driver out and let's floor it and let's see where we can go in the world. So, that back in the day, some of us ended up being game masters like that and just creating sandboxes. One of the things that Complex Games Apologist talked about was the idea of like a hex crawl. I think he put it at the end of the response he made today or yesterday to Tim Harper's "Make Something Damn It" video, which was really cool. Both those videos were really cool. But I just want to say one thing, at least for me. I wasn't always just a big hex crawler guy in terms of like at least the way he presented it. It's kind of like the Lewis and Clark game style where here's this world, it's static more or less, and you go interact with it and see what's over here and see what's over there. That's cool. I prefer a dynamic world. I prefer to play. I think I'm going to see where his conversation goes, where it's kind of reactive and kind of proactive. And what I mean by that is this: that there are these things that are going to happen in the world or are happening in the world. The world is dynamic. It's not just flat and static. Nations are attacking other nations. There's a cult that's, going to create some kind of havoc over here. Maybe somebody's going to awaken something they shouldn't have. There are all sorts of nefarious or not nefarious plots going on. And as players, we enter that world. So it's not just that if we go over south, we see what's south, and if we go north, we see what's north. That's part of it. And that doesn't, I like that. I like the idea that there's no quantum ogre that, if I take this path, I'm going to see what's down there. If I take the other path, I'm going to see what's down that other path. However, there's stuff going on in that world, and we could choose to interact with it and kick somebody out of the bus and try to take it in a different direction, or we can choose to simply ignore it, maybe run away from it. So we're reacting to the living, breathing situations in that world, but at the same time, at least in my preferred play style, we are grabbing the bull by the horns and doing sometimes the expected, like we've chosen, I want to interact with this particular interesting thing. And a lot of times doing the unexpected, where the game master is just, sits back and goes, what the hell just happened? Which are I've had game masters do to me a lot, and I have enjoyed it when players do that to me. I love that. It can be a pain in the butt, but I like when they just surprise the heck out of me. Grab the bus, drive it like they stole it, smash down some walls, and I have to, think, man, what would happen? They look at me, what would happen if we did this? I don't know. Let's go find out. And I hold on for dear life. I prefer that game style. And you can do that in a lot of different games. One of my favorites ones to do it in, obviously, are some of the old school retro clones, which have been a little cleaned up. I like those. But, you can do it in a lot of other games as well. So, but, once again, Lee, simulationism and old school, I'll tell you what, not the same thing. It was neat when they intersected. I like when you get both. But you don't always get both, unless you want to. So that's it. Talk to you later.